Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Wendy Low. I'm an intellectual property and technology lawyer. I'm currently with Eldan Law, which is in association with DWF, and that was one of UK's largest listed law firm. So basically, in my role as the head of Women's Wing with PSP, which was started since G 2020, we wanted to talk about the validation of every Singaporean woman's experience. So whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you're a caregiver, whether you've gone through hardship with mental health issues, we wanted to give a platform to each and every woman. And alongside with that, our focus was really on one of inclusivity. And one of the major pieces of legislation which I've championed through the Women's Wing is to work in collaboration with our NCMPs to come up with suggestions for the workplace fairness legislation. So that was actually one major breakthrough for us as a party as well as for the Women's Wing. And for myself, what I wanted to present today, because you've heard a lot from the different candidates across multiple parties, I want to show us as a team that is here to bring forth solutions. And why I say that is because I'm really honored to be here with my fellow colleagues from PSP, all of whom are from extremely established professional background. On my left, I have Lawrence, who's the ex-Secretary General of the Singapore Manufacturing Federation. And he tells me that manufacturing actually accounts for about 20% of Singapore's GDP. So we have someone here who's well versed with 20% of the GDP of Singapore. So I think he'll be a great addition to the team here. On my right, I have Nala, who is the president of Singapore Remiser Society. And again, that's a huge part of the economy where the society has a membership of about 2,000 members. And he's the president, working proactively along the years on issues on job transformation. So again, someone who's very acutely aware to current issues which are close to the heart of fellow Singaporeans. I was going to say Abbas. Yes, safety practitioner and someone who's been working for many years on training of workers on healthcare compliance, regulatory matters to ensure their safety in workplaces. So again, another very important facet of work and employment. And last but not least, Haresh, one of the earlier pioneers on open sourcing and now currently a consultant on data protection and AI software. So the next future leap that we are all talking about in terms of robotics, AI, disruptive technology, we have all the grounds covered in our team today. So what we wanted to do really is to show that we have the expertise to address the immediate economic problems that are facing Singapore as well as the larger ASEAN and the greater world. The next level of solutions we are talking about, you may have heard a lot about the cost of living issues. And if you have read some of our party's manifesto, I would summarize that there's a three-pronged attack strategy to how we would like to address the cost of living. One is our call for a consideration that GST be reduced from 9% back to 7%, as well as no GST for essential goods, which are necessary for our day-to-day living Singaporeans. Two, when we talk about affordable housing, that forms a huge component of most Singaporeans' spending in terms of mortgages. And again, we want to have the government reconsider some of the policies that our NCMPs have raised in Parliament on affordable housing. So that is another major facet. The third facet, I believe, as I've already mentioned, that we have the expertise that we want to bring forth, which is to help Singapore work in the long term to provide sustained economic growth so that there will be sustained wage growth that would mitigate against the rising living costs. So that is the tier 2 of the solution we're talking about. And tier 3 of this solution that we'd like to bring forth are local amenities that we have been engaging the residents here. And there's been some helpful solutions that has been put forward to our team. So maybe if I can invite Harry to, Okay, so as an alternative party, we have less of a budget, and what we try to use is some online AI software. A major take is that because these are online, it's just illustrative of some of the visions that we have in mind. It's not going to be the actual building because it's dependent on a lot of considerations such as budget, regulatory approval, so on and so forth. But an ideation of some of the plans that we have in view that we think can help address the concerns of local residents. So the key imagery that we have is actually one of a bamboo pavilion, and personally the inspiration comes from the Green School in Bali, where we are essentially talking about creating a new holistic environment that will inspire the next generation of children to think about the space that they would like to grow up in, the kind of educational environment that they can be inspired to become the next generation of leaders to bring Singapore forward. And I personally like a quote which says that our young families in Chua Chu Kang make up about 47% of the residing population here, but notwithstanding that, they are 100% of our future, right? And it's with that inspiration in mind that we actually want to create this alternative space that will integrate the amenities across the different generations. So if you can look on my right side, this will largely be integrated with bamboo as a very sustainable form of material because it can grow very fast. And regionally, there's already a lot of architecture that's using bamboo. And when some of the teammates saw this, she says it reminds her of Bali, right? So we want people to feel comfortable in the environment. Chua Chu Kang has a history of plantation and a whole community of residents who have stayed here for a long term, being from the kampongs, from Amaking, who are very familiar with dock. And we want to continue providing that sort of familiarity and environment. And so within these spaces, we do foresee that there will be childcare facilities, which is one of the key concerns from residents. Some of them feel that they've been queuing for a long time without getting a placement. And on the other hand, there's also a very large population of elderlies in Chua Chu Kang as well. So while the current structure has been to isolate both setups, we feel that an integration of both will actually bring about that intergeneration community sharing and joy. To have both the senior care centers with the child cares where they can see young children running around. And of course, with that, for the children, we hope that there can be integration of playground spaces, again, bamboo themed, water parks. Again, when we see children, for example, at Bugis Junction, the simple joy of just running in ponds, with fountains. I think in that indirectly addresses cost of living because for young families to bring out your children to go out for food and entertainment, that is actually a huge part of expenses that they have to factor. So if we can bring in low-cost amenities that's close to home, we believe that that could be an added bonus for young families in the Tinga as well as the Brickland area and some in the Keat Home side as well. And on the other side, not forgetting the middle income families, of which job is a key consideration. We have also proposed job transformation studios, so people who are looking for job transitions, there will be counselors there. We also look at integrating mental wellness into their sessions because we do understand the anxiety, depression, sleepless nights that they go through worrying about whether they can bring the bread and butter home for their family. So it will be an integrated space to take care of all these different facets. Further on, thinking about the families who also have feedback to us that there's a lack of 24-hour clinics. We want to be the one-stop shop that if there is an emergency at home, they can immediately come to this center and get help. Right. So this will be an integrated environment to support all these different concerns that have been shared with us over our months of walking in Chua Chu Kang. And not only that, to us, young entrepreneurship and senior entrepreneurship is very important. My mom always says that she's feeling poor at home and she's always been thinking of running a small nasi lemak store. But, she's found rental commercially to be too high to test out her ideas and her recipes. So we do hope that within this space, there will be low-cost rental booths and setups to encourage youth and senior entrepreneurship. And likewise, when young families come to pick up their kids, when seniors are there, it's going to be a lively sport where not only can they get food options, cafes, and maybe children enrichment facilities all in one. It's going to be experiential space where it's going to bring together communities as well. And one of the issues that's very close to my heart is vintage, right? We have seen that the Thieves Market and all that, they have been relocated to different spots of Singapore. So we actually want to bring back that experience of thrifting, which is popular amongst the young people right now. For the elderlies, finding things of nostalgia, retro memorabilia. We think that those will bring together the weekend spaces very nicely. Of course, along with music, movie nights, one of the commitments we have to the community is also to probably start this concept of a mobile MPS, and that's something I've personally spoken about in the last general election. We feel that while there's physical setup for people to meet their MPs, along the way when we meet residents who are immobile or families with special needs, we do feel that it would be encouraging for the MP to visit them personally and bring about solutions, right? Or help them fill up forms to let them know that there's someone there to support along the way. So that is actually one of the key anchor points that we call our 5I program. So it's initiating a mobile MPS. In some of the pockets along Brickland and Kiat Hong, there's also feedback to say that there's a lack of food options and local grocery stores. So if you remember, for some of you who are closer to my age, the mom and pop shops which used to be at the basement of your HDB, right? Someone that you can just go by to pick up small bread items, little groceries, your eggs, without having to travel to the main interchange. We want to bring back that kind of neighborhood support. The other I would be improving estate maintenance and connectivity. Again, many new grants in Tinga, which has a distance away from the main connecting point. We want to make sure that the last mile travel experience can be improved for residents. We have, again, feedback from seniors who are largely living alone to say that they would like someone to visit them. And whilst there's a lot of befriender services, we are looking to tap on the expertise of Haresh to integrate an AI helpline support that if they need immediate reference, there is a voice at least to give them some level of support. And maybe you can let us know whether it could be integrated with dialect references as well. Yeah. Yeah, so, and then lastly, to identify specialist volunteers to help with long-term issues, such as in Tinga, we have the recurring feedback to people like Lawrence, who's been walking the ground on the centralized cooling system. So the foreboard showed the different representation of those spaces, and the key center to that is the community space, which will bring together all these ideas. So with that, I'll refer back to my teammates, maybe starting with Lawrence and Dr. Tan. Sorry, I talk too much.
You talk too much.
I always talk too much.
No, that's the quality of people who must go to Parliament. Because she can present views, she can give them a lot of ideas too. So that's why I need all these young people to go to Parliament. Parliament cannot be just quiet. We have got 2 persons already, and I think they have done pretty well, Manwai and Hazel.